ఆర్బీఐ ద్వైమాసిక పరపతి విధాన సమీక్ష ప్రకటిస్తోంది. ప్రత్యక్షంగా చూద్దాం.
Nisha Podar from ET Now. Governor, you've paid a lot of emphasis on vigilance on CPI inflation. And you have, if I'm not reading it incorrectly, you've been tentative about accommodation in future because you have specially mentioned accommodation when available. I just wanted to understand your future stance because it has been this time around on whether it will depend a lot more on transmission, CPI, which you have said will plateau out, and also are we already prepared to deal with an imminent Fed lift-off which is going to happen? So are we going to wait till February for any more measures to be taken, or after a lift-off really happens, there could be something anticipated earlier because our economy needs it?
Okay. First, we are still accommodative. I think that is very clear. We're always vigilant, so this is not anything new. We are vigilant. There are obviously both upside and downside risks to consumer price inflation. We've highlighted some of the sources of risks going forward. One could imagine that there could be downside risks from, say, commodity prices, especially oil. But of course, given where oil is produced, there are also potentially upside risks if there are political events that constrain the supply of oil. So vigilance is always needed. Now, as far as you ask questions about when the next rate movement, etc., what we've said is, when times are warranted, we are always prepared to move off cycle. But when times normalize, we prefer staying with the policy cycle rather than move off cycle. Of course, when we use the words external developments, one of them is what happens to the Fed policy rate hike. Our sense, however, is that's probably even more widely anticipated than our statement today. Now, of course, there are some residual uncertainties about what the Fed will do. But my sense is, as I've said before, after an initial bout of volatility, we probably should see Indian markets stabilize and come through. So it's not, as I've said before again, the central factor in our deliberations going forward. Would you like to add anything? What's that?
Tentative on accommodation going forward because you
I think I've said it clearly. I'll say it once again. We are in an accommodative stance.
I think the way to put this is that because we don't reduce interest rates, it doesn't mean we are not accommodative. And I think the language in the draft in the policy statement suggests that if and when space opens up, we will do what is required to ensure that both the inflation objectives as well as promoting growth on a durable basis will be facilitated by the RBI.
That was